Okay, welcome to the interview.
Hello.
Let's start by introducing yourself. Why don't you tell me your name, your tag, and where you're from?
I'm Wolfgang. I use ViVi Staples. I also use Wolfgang sometimes, but like on Discord and everything, usually use ViVi Staples. I'm originally from the East Coast, Rhode Island, and my majors are econ and film.
So, did you apply here from out of state?
No. I moved and went to San Francisco Community College. And then
Recently?
applied here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's hella expensive if you did.
Yeah. No, I did.
So, are you a student, and what's your year and major, if so?
So I said econ and film, and I'm a junior.
And when did you first start playing fighting games?
I've had a long history. One of like my first memories that I remember, like ever, is one of the Mortal Kombats on the PS2.
Damn.
I tried looking up which one it was exactly because I didn't remember. I think the ones around the time were like Armageddon. That might have been it. But
do you know the year?
It was either 2003 or 4. So something like that.
They let you play that as a kid?
They let me do a lot of stuff
Damn.
as a kid. I don't think it was our PS2. I think it was like a parent's friend's. That's why. I just remember like mashing on that. I remember buying Blaze Blue Continuum Shift. I didn't play it for very long or that much. I just remember seeing like some YouTuber I watched at the time who like wasn't even a fighting game YouTuber. They just like happened to like Blaze Blue, so I got it. I remember my cousins bought Ultra Street Fighter 4, and we played that a lot. There was like a summer I visited, and we played that a ton. And then the next summer, or it was like something soon after, I bought 5 when it came out. I think the first fighting game that I like took really, really seriously though was Strive. That was after watching Evo 2022. So that was the first fighting game where I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and like actually learn how to play this.
That's the one with Umisho versus.
Yeah.
What was in finals?
I think it was Slash was the
yes,
finals.
Yeah, Umisho versus Slash. Yeah. So how come, like, why Strive? I guess if you were into fighting games as a casual for so long, why did Strive pique your interest?
I think just because I was ready. When I was playing all these other fighting games, I was still like really young, pretty bad at video games. I was just like button mashing. It was always on like console 2 with my Wi-Fi, so like I think I tried to go into 5 ranked once, and it was like horrible. But also just like by the time I got back into it, I guess you could say is like I was good at video games. I felt like I was like, okay, like I could actually learn this and be decent.
Do you feel like having experience as a casual helped at all, like with game mechanics or stuff like that?
I think I knew what was going on, but otherwise, like, I don't, I think like mashing and actually trying to like learn combos, learn neutral are 2 totally different things.
Yeah. So you got into Strive, this was like season 2, right? So it wasn't initially from the game's launch. Who'd you end up playing?
I think when I started on Bridget because she was the newest character. And then I played a lot of Sin because I thought he looked cool. I really like his Strive design. And then I bounced around a couple different characters because that was when Sin was still awful.
Yeah.
So I tried Chip for a while. I tried Nago. I went back to Sin when they buffed him in season 3, I think. I'd always like really liked Happy Chaos because like I said, like Umisho is how I got into the game basically. So eventually I landed on Happy Chaos, but it was mainly Sin and Chip for the first couple years.
Would you say Happy Chaos is like your dedicated main now in Strive?
In Strive for sure, yeah.
And did you find him hard to pick up, I guess? Because I know has a reputation for being executionally difficult.
Yeah. Like, I think he's actually not that hard to mash with, just because, like, Gunshot is such a fun button. Yeah. But actually, like, learning the combo took a while. I remember, like, asking Richard a bunch of questions. But really, it was just, like, I sat there for, I think, like... It was like weeks on end where I was just
yeah,
trying to
grinding training mode.
basically doing his one B&B.
Mhm.
And now I can do it pretty consistently, but like I think that took a while.
And did you find that like satisfying or fun, or was it a little frustrating?
Yeah, no, I love steady aim. That's like one of the most dopamine filling buttons in any fighting game that I've played. So it was really, really good to learn. Felt satisfying.
Okay, so you're playing Happy Chaos. This was like, I guess, 2022-ish?
No, Happy Chaos is pretty recent. I think like at the very beginning.
You were still on Sin?
Sin mostly, yeah.
And was that when you found out about the club?
Let me think. When did I find out about the club? I found out about the club like as soon as I moved in, because I was like, I should find like see if there's anyone here who plays fighting games. I think I just like I don't remember what I looked up, but I looked up like fighting games at Berkeley.
Yeah, just Google search?
Something like that,
Okay.
yeah. And I found like the club. And I realized that they were like having an event at Calapalooza. I went.
So it was just the tabling.
Yeah.
And what was the first, I guess, tournament or event that you showed up to in the club?
For the club, it was the Strive one, which was I think the first one they had last semester.
Yes, okay, I remember that. Yeah, a lot of people showed up to that.
Yeah, that one was I think the biggest tournament.
But you were going to tournaments before that, am I right?
Yes, yeah.
So tell me about that.
So I just generally like love esports. I always have. I went to like Worlds 2022, which was really sick. But so one of the things as like a film major I wanted to do was like make content about it. I say content like I did a whole documentary series about Street Fighter 6 when it came out. So I went to like
Hello. Wolfgang, can I grab you for a quick sec?
Sure.
We could just cut the footage.
Okay, yeah, sure. The editor will take care of it.
Yeah.
Cover it in post. I just want to do intro with Philip since he's here.
Oh,
I don't think here for too long.
Okay, I was trying to figure out how to pause recording in OBS because it should be a thing, but it's just not here.
Yeah.
Anyways, we were talking about tournaments you went to before the Berkeley ones.
Yeah. I think the first fighting game tournament I ever went to was Slashback, the first one. So that was 2023.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. I also didn't know anyone. I met some cool people there, though. It was fun to be at. It was like, I didn't do very well. I haven't done very well at any tournament besides, I think, the picture I posted of me at Grand Blue at Combo Breaker. But, yeah, that was great. I enjoyed it. I was like, I want to do more of this. So I figured if I'm going to be, like, trying to travel, I should at least, like, do something with it. So I made a YouTube documentary series about it. I technically haven't finished it. I need to. But, yeah. So I went to, let's see. Then after that, the next one I went to was Senkow Standoff, which was in Fresno. And then I went to Defend the North. Get on My Level, which is a Smash tournament, but they also had fighting games. I went to EVO, and then I went to Slashback again the next year, and then Combo Breaker.
Damn, you've made the whole circuit. I guess out of the big NA tournaments, you haven't been to Frosty Fastings, you haven't been to CEO.
No.
But the other ones you've pretty much covered. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, and here in NorCal, I guess Slashbacks are a big one. We don't have many.
Yeah, we lost NCR.
Yeah, we used to have NCR. We used to have the Red Bull Proving Grounds back
Mm-hmm.
in the day. That was way before my time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you played Grand Blue at Combo Breaker. Were you playing like other games at this time already?
I've dabbled in a lot of games. I think towards the end of 5, like the very end, when 6 was announced and coming out, I started playing 5 again to be like, I should probably like prepare a little bit.
Who'd you play?
I think I wanted to play Zeku. He was kind of hard,
Yeah,
so I
of
just
course.
switched to Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was playing a lot of 5 before 6 came out. I played a little bit of Vanilla Grand Blue. I played a decent amount of hours in that. I played Belial. I don't know. I just like having fighting games in my library. So I have like, I've like fucked around a little bit in like BB Tag, CF even before we had the tournament here.
Old Guilty Gear, you have any of those?
I do. Actually, I did buy Exerd when it came out, like Rev 1. I forgot to mention that was another like casual game that I just messed around with. But I bought Red 2 on Steam, yeah. So I think like the three that I was taking the most seriously were Grand Blue, Strive, and Street Fighter.
Did you enter all of those at tournaments or just Grand Blue and Strive?
I don't think I entered any vanilla Grand Blue. Like I don't. I'm trying to think. No, because I didn't play Grand Blue at the first /back. I did it the second though, because that was Rising. That was when Rising came out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So Rising came out. So that was before you entered the Berkeley Club. Then at that point, you had already dabbled in several games.
Mm-hmm.
What about like Tekken? You ever played that?
I have. I just never like gripped me.
Yeah. I think 2D players rarely make the crossover.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you found the club through Google search.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And you arrived at the first Strive tournament.
Mm-hmm.
What made you want to stay?
It's something to do. It's free for the most part. Like, I also played a lot of card games. That's one of the other like genres of game that I play a lot. And I was like really competitive at card games and just kind of fell off because I like, when I moved to California, there wasn't like a local that was as close as there was in Rhode Island. Because one in Rhode Island was like literally a 5-minute walk from my house.
Oh, nice.
Something crazy like that. There were a lot in San Francisco that I went to, but they were like, it was like a 30-minute bus ride, something like that, which is a little inconvenient.
Which card games?
Mainly Magic, and then I dabble a little bit in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Too. There is a Yu-Gi-Oh! At Berkeley, and I've like played with them, and they're all really chill, but I just like, it's expensive, and I don't have the time. So it was like, one of the reasons that I kind of also wanted to get back into fighting games was just another competitive game to play that was cheaper. I wasn't like spending $300 every other month.
Yeah, I think TCG and FGC have a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
But I would only resort to TCG once my reactions were, too shot to play fighting games. Because like you said, too expensive.
But I stayed because it was like, a club of people to like, play games with, be friends with, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the reason why most people come. I'm curious about, I guess, your other gaming interests, because you've talked to me before about how you would watch like Street Fighter V CPT even before you even played the game that much.
Yeah.
And you mentioned liking esports in general.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get into those games, and what other games have you played?
I've played pretty much every genre there is. Right now I'm on a huge World of Warcraft kick.
I've seen.
I love that game. One of the reasons I have been playing in the past is because, like, one of the issues with that game and the community at large is, like, very adamant on trying to get this changed. Blizzard seem to want to change it. Is that raiding requires 20 people. So, like, it's very tough to both run guilds and also get into guilds.
Yeah.
Because to, like, run the Mythic Raid, you have to have 20 people. But if you're a player who, like, wants to get into a guild, it's hard because if they're good, they already have 20 people. I just happened to be really lucky that one of the guilds that I applied to recently, like, wanted to take a chance on me. And now I'm thankfully I'm like one of their better players. They were like, I joined at the same time as this other guy. We play the same class, and for whatever reason, like, they kept me. Or I'm in, like, the main roster, and because that much was I feel kind of bad about, but, like...
Damn, that sounds kind of serious. Like, you have to apply to different guilds like a
job.
job.
Yeah, it is kind of like a job, and that's one of the things that, like, holds a lot of people back from even trying the game, is just, like, I spend... How long do I read, like, 3 hours on Wednesday and Thursday. So it's, like, 6 hours a week. It's basically, like, a part-time job. But I just love it so much that I'm playing that a lot.
Yeah, I think the job ishness of WoW is part of the appeal, right? Like
Yeah.
people want to log on consistently, see all their guild mates.
Yeah, for a lot of people, like, you know, it's a game where you can just play all day.
Mhm.
There are even people like who complain because they've taken a lot of systems out that are like never ending. Like, no, we want it to just be never ending. But yeah, I like that aspect. I just will, play WoW all day. What other games have I played? I mentioned going to like the League of Legends World Championship. I used to play a lot of League. Played some Valorant. Played a lot of CS:GO. I have a couple hundred hours in CS:GO.
And you were a big spectator for all of these as well? Like you followed all the
Yeah,
esports and so on?
yeah.
Do you have any like teams or players that you're a huge fan of?
I think like it's weird because there's not a lot of franchises that are like have the same vibe in all of their games.
Yeah.
So like the G2 League of Legends team feels very different from the G2 Counter-Strike team, which feels very different from the G2 Valorant team. Did I say that already? Anyway, like I love the G2 Valorant team. That's probably my favorite team in that game of all time.
How come?
I don't know. I just like the players. They're NA. They're really good.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, on camera, they just have like a fun personality. In game, they have a fun personality.
Is NA good at Valorant?
They're pretty good, yeah.
Oh, really?
They won the World Championship, I think 2023, and they've been really competitive ever since.
That's funny because in every esport I've ever followed, NA is garbage.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. I think it was just like Valorant hit kind of a sweet spot where like it was a lot of like retired NA CS:GO pros. It's also just like really fucking popular.
Yeah.
Like everyone has played Valorant before, so I think it just attracted enough people that like it was the game that enough NA people played where we had a good team.
Are there any tournament moments that you found really memorable that like always stuck in your mind?
That 2022 League of Legends Worlds that I went to was a huge upset. Do you know anything about like League?
You'll have to tell me about it.
So in the finals, it was T1, who are like the most winningest team of all time with Faker. They went on to win the next two Worlds against DRX, who I think in the regular season finished like 5th, 6th. Like they got in on like in the gauntlet. A lot of people said they shouldn't have even been at Worlds, and it was like the best team of all time basically versus this unknown team that no one expected to be there. Like most of the players were unknown except one guy who was a veteran, and they just smashed T1.
Damn.
And it was not like it was 3-2, but like it felt, there were certain games that like T1 won where like it felt really close. And I got to watch that like with the big crowd, and it was really hype. So I think I'll always remember that because it was like, the storyline was really cool, but also I was there to experience that storyline, and everyone like, wait a minute, like, can they do this? And then they did it.
Yeah, I mean, like, just being live and in person, I feel like amplifies the whole feel of it 10 times more.
Yeah, for sure.
What about fighting game specifically? Do you have a favorite fighting game tournament moment or player or any of that?
I love Punk. I wanted to play Karen in 5, and I think I just like, she's not really the kind of character I play anymore. But I've always loved Punk. I'll always root for Punk. I love Kakeru, obviously. My in the Discord, my name is #1 Kakeru Glazer right now. Let me think.
What about someone who isn't like a super winning player?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I love JB.
He's a chill guy.
Yeah, I like watching, I love him. I always root for him. Who else? Dual Kevin too. I really like Rashid, like watching Rashid players, so I also love Gachikun. Like all the Rashid players I love. Who else? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if I have any like unknown or spicy picks.
What about like non-Street Fighter?
Non-Street Fighter.
I mean, you mentioned watching Umi Show to get into Strive.
I'm trying to think. I love watching Jonathan Tene. 10A's fun.
Yeah,
He's
10A's really
knockout.
funny.
Yeah. Apology Man. I hate playing Faust against Faust, but I love watching Faust. So I love watching Apology
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Rooting for NorCal, I see.
Yeah, pretty much. Let me think. I don't know. I feel like kind of the opposite. Like there's players I don't like watching.
Like who?
I don't like Noah. I'll always root against Noah if I can.
Hey, this is a safe space. You can say whatever you want about anybody.
I don't know. It's not that like I dislike Mena or that I don't like that he wins. Like he's obviously amazing. I don't know. I just think like for whatever reason like I like other players more. So Mena was always Mena was always like in the finals against players I liked more.
Yeah, that's fair. He is kind of like the final boss vibes.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, you've listed a fair number. I think anyone who knows Street Fighter well enough to root for like a JB or someone like that, I consider him to be kind of a hometown hero. Not like he's an unknown player. But if you only watch tournament top 8s, you probably wouldn't see him that much.
Yeah.
So you've got to be pretty deep in the scene to know that. I think is cool. Nice to hear from a fellow spectator.
Yeah.
I am, just like you, I watch streams all the time, so I've always wanted to ask someone about that. Final question.
Yep.
So you're going to be an officer next year.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any ideas or plans for where you want to take the club? Just like events or how to recruit more people? Anything like that?
You know, I'm obviously partial to like in-person tournaments. Hopefully, if we can run more. We had a crew that like went to Slashback this year.
Yeah.
It was like me, Jose, Tony, Vincent. I think it would be really sick if we could have something like that, some sort of like club field trip where for some weekend we go to a big tournament and it's like, you know, like it's the Berkeley crew there. So that could be Slashback since, you know, that's close. Something like that. I really think that would be cool.
I think so too. I would have gone to that Street Fighter.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, it's a shame that like Evo is one during the summer, but also is like so expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really cool thing for like all of us to be there and go to. But yeah,
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah.
I think as a club, we have a lot of our kind of internal events, but if we get the name out there, like, oh, these guys are from Berkeley, then who knows what might happen. We have like more connections throughout the NorCal FGC, which is always a good thing. But yeah, that's all I had to ask. Let me turn off the recording. I don't know how to end these properly.